I'm Fran.
I'm Danielle.
These are our coffees.
Let's talk.
So, this episode of Espresso and Escrow, we thought we would talk about some red flags.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're going to be breaking down the biggest realtor red flags so you don't get stuck with a realtor who either ghosts you, overpromises things, or
Overprices things.
or just doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah. Oh, they're definitely out there, especially right now. There's so many realtors, I feel, that kind of, the market was going so crazy and they decided to jump on board and get licensed. And they did, which is great. Congrats. We love having you. We love growing our team. But there's a lot more going on all the time in markets than just that high. There's also a lot of lows.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of working with someone who's actively pursuing to better themselves in the industry.
Right.
Not just someone who gets in there to get a paycheck.
Right.
And then be done with it.
So, the first thing, we'll call it the first red flag. Red flag number one is you need a realtor that knows the market conditions, right? So, and that is really what it says right in the name, knows the market conditions.
Yeah.
Knows what's going on in your area, in your specific town. Each town is different.
And it's more than just looking at what what's the word that I'm looking for?
I don't know. What's the word that you're looking
There's
for?
statistics that are posted online.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it's more than just looking at that.
That's great. But you also, and I feel like when you're in it every day and you're living it, then you learn more about what the nitty gritty is rather than just those statistics. But the statistics are important. There's nothing, they're important too, but
there's also more
to it than that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of things that are just more hyper localized that you wouldn't know unless you're working in a specific market.
Right.
So if your realtor has to Google the difference between Bridgeport and Bristol, that's probably not their target market.
Right.
You should find someone that's more specific to that location.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. All right. So red flag number 2, we're going to say if they do not guide you through your paperwork, because that is a big part, as much as most things are digital now, which is great. A lot of us can just send things right through your email and you sign everything, and that's great. But before you sign it, you need to read it and understand it.
Yes.
And this is what we've talked about before. As much as us, we do this every day, right? I mean, there's things that we will know by heart, what section of what contract is numbered, and but you guys don't know that,
Right.
So really, you want to make sure you find a realtor that is going to walk you through every step of the way, and not, if you get a realtor that is putting paperwork in front of you and just saying, oh yeah, just sign it, it's not a big deal, we do this for everybody.
Yeah.
That's not really, you want somebody that's going to take the time to explain it to you.
But I'll also say this, because we do it so often, it's easy for us to take for granted what we already know and expect, not really expect, but we just, because it becomes second nature to us, we don't always think, oh, they're going to need a couple of extra minutes to process this. So even if you have a realtor that doesn't go right into the verbiage of the contract, ask questions.
Yes.
That's where the true red flag lies.
Yeah.
If they kind of go around your question, and don't really want to get into and educate you, that's where the big red flag lies.
I agree, and that leads us to our next one, which is communication.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. So communication is key in everything that we do, and right now there's tons of different ways for us to communicate, and I think a lot of people right now, probably their primary is texting. And we can do a lot. Yeah. We can do a lot over our phones. We can do a lot, texting with people. But you guys have to work out what is the best form of communication with your client right from the bat. So if, sometimes we get older generations that maybe they really like that phone call. They want to hear from you. They want to talk to you. And that's fine too, but you need to establish that in the beginning.
Yes.
And then your realtor needs to be okay with that and be attentive to your needs of communication.
Yeah. And I think you said something about also, which I thought was a good point to bring up. making sure that you set that precedence. So even if you have family time, and so if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, because listen, we all have, well, some of us don't have, but most of us have young kids, right?
Lives.
And lives outside of here. Yeah. So whether you're, crafting with your girlfriends at the vineyard on Saturday evening or whatever, everybody takes the vacation. Not enough in my mind, but everybody takes vacation. Yeah. So it's okay for your agent to share that with you. Just share that. And make sure that you're saying that to them when you're talking to them and you're maybe interviewing them, because you're going to want to interview a couple different agents before you decide on the right one for you. So when you're interviewing your agent that you think you might use, discuss that.
Yeah. The kind of key lies into following a pattern. So if they just all the time are taking forever to get back to you. And I'm not talking an hour, because again, we do have lives. We could be speaking with other clients. But if they habitually take days to get back to you, or ghost you, or don't respond at all, you don't want a agent that's going to kind of collect clients like Pokemon cards. You want someone that's going to sit there, nurture you, really get back to you. And also, the real estate market is very time sensitive a lot of times.
Oh, especially right now. Right now. So you've got things right now in the current market. They're going on the market, say, on Wednesday. And by the time you look it up on that Saturday, it says highest and best by, Sunday evening. Well, if you're not somebody that's attending to your buyer's needs, you've missed that already. And this house could have been perfect for your buyer, and you've missed that. But it's not just on the buyer's end either. You want to make sure that you're, for your listings and for your sellers. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want somebody that's going to fly in there and they're so attentive and then they get that contract and then that's it. You never see them again. You never hear from them again. And, you need somebody that's going to be following up. You want to hear, and I think every day or a couple times a day might be too much. But you want to know, hey, this week, here's what happened with your property.
Absolutely.
We have so many people look at it, the feedback that we're getting. You might want to think about doing this because we're getting feedback in this direction. So I think, it's on both buyer and seller. That's a huge one, I think. Communication, I think, is really big.
For sure.
Next, I suppose we'll go on to negotiations. This one I feel like is very relevant right now. Coming up.
Yes. And I also feel like it's a lost art currently.
Yes. Not in my house. It's constant negotiations, especially when it comes to vacationing.
I think it's more so on the newer realtors.
I agreed, because they're
getting their footing.
Because there's the market they were hopefully finally coming out of was, once you won that contract, you would basically give the seller whatever they wanted, within reason, because your buyer wanted the home so bad and there was nothing else out there. So you really were kind of jumping through all these hoops to gain, to get the contract for them. And that's not going to be the case. So you're going to have things like, you're going to do an inspection. You're going to need to know how to negotiate that. What repairs need to be done, or even closing cost credits and things like that. You're going to have all that stuff start to come up more and more.
And negotiation doesn't just stop at the initial offer. It goes throughout the process,
right up until you close.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been at the closing table where the attorneys are battling with one another over things that you're negotiating, and you have to be able to handle that. You have to take the emotion out of it, and you have to be able to handle it.
Now, one thing that you can kind of be on the lookout for to avoid this is if you meet with a realtor and they're just kind of like a yes man. Like, I'm saying yes to everything that you say. Yes, I will list it for this much. Yes, I will. And they're not giving you that input behind why they're saying yes. They're just agreeing because they want you as a client. But because they aren't in the know-how of speaking things through, it's kind of a sign that they might not be doing that at the negotiating table either. Because they just don't have that communication style.
Right. So my fear, if somebody is yesing you to death when they're talking to you, if they want to list your home or help you buy a home, is that that's how they're going to go about it when they're speaking to the person on the other side of the contract, right? So if they're yesing you to death, are they really keeping your best interest at heart? Or when they get on the phone with the agent who represents the other half of the transaction, are they yesing them to death?
Right.
And photos, staging, all that stuff to make your home look beautiful is huge.
Yes.
It's so, so important. And so here's my advice. Ask to see their work. Why is it, no, I don't feel like that happens that much.
Doesn't.
I can't say that I've ever gone on a listing appointment and had somebody ask to see my work. But as we've been talking about this and our show today, I'm wondering why we don't do that. And I really think we should, because you want to see what is being offered and what you're getting, and your home needs to be presented in the best possible light it can be.
Absolutely. And I also feel like there are a lot of agents out there that boast the fact that they always hire a professional photographer. I wouldn't hold that at face value.
Right.
Like, still ask for those pictures as evidential proof, because there are photographers out there that are professional, that are just starting out, or maybe they don't specialize in real estate photography. And there are agents out there that take beautiful photos.
Yeah.
Phones have come a long way.
Oh my goodness, yes. And it used to be that if you walked into a listing appointment, or you were going to take a listing and take the photos, and you walked in with your phone, you really were, kind of looked down. But it's changed.
Yeah.
It's changed, and so you really need to, see what is going on behind the scenes when it comes to their photos.
I personally can't take my own photos worth a lick. Like,
I've had both. I've gone into some people's homes that you couldn't possibly take a bad picture of it, because these homes are just so amazing.
Lit.
Right. And I'm like, oh, this is easy. And then I've gone into others where it doesn't matter what time of day, there's never any light, it doesn't photograph well, and I have called in the professional that we use. So, I would ask to see proof, I think, is the best way to go about that.
I guess what we're trying to do here for you today is help you gain the tools to make a decision that's best for you.
Right.
Make sure you are meeting with multiple realtors to
ask
find the best
a lot
fit.
of questions. Don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions. Ask for feedback from the people maybe that you know that also know them. Ask for their photos, see their work, see houses that they have, and don't be afraid to go to an open house that they're hosting. See how they interact. Right? With other people, right? So there's also, hey, we're thinking of using so and so as our realtor. They're having an open house at, 123 Maple Street. Let's go. Not even you're checking out the house, but you're checking out the realtor.
But you know what? Also, that's a good way to get some insight into their marketing. Without them telling you. How are they promoting this open house? What are they doing once people come in the door? Right. That's a really good tip, Fran. All right.
We aim to please here at Espresso and Escrow TV.
So hopefully we did give you those tools that will help you choose the right realtor and really take care of you in one of the biggest transactions of your lifetime.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time. If you have anything that you would love to have us talk about, then
please.
by all means, drop us a little down below and let us know what you want, what questions you want answered, or what you'd like us to talk about, and we'll get to it.
Until next time, guys. Bye.
Subscribe to my channel.